My dad runs the city. Get your hands off me. The crack of an open palm against flesh echoed through the Providence municipal courtroom. Officer Collins, the bailiff who had served Judge Frank Caprio's court for 11 years, stumbled back a step, more from shock than force that a 19-year-old woman stood trembling with rage, hands raised, eyes wild with the certainty that she had just acted without consequences. She was wrong. What Amelia Rhodes didn't know, what she couldn't have imagined in that moment, was that her father, Mayor Daniel Rhodes of Providence, had made a phone call to the court 3 days earlier. A call that would shatter every assumption she had built her identity upon. Don't give her special treatment. I'm done protecting her. The mayor had said the case itself was serious enough. She had nearly struck a 72-year-old disabled veteran in a crosswalk. Harold Jenkins, 3 tours in Vietnam, partially paralyzed from a 1972 helicopter crash, had been crossing legally when Amelia's convertible came within inches of ending his life. She had screamed at him to move faster, and then screamed at the responding officer, claiming her father would bury his career. But in 3 seconds, she had added assault on a court officer to her charges. The clock read 10:11 a.m. Thursday morning. Case number 2026 Civilian 5518 had just become far more serious. And a young woman who believed her last name made her untouchable was about to discover what accountability actually looks like. Officer Collins touched his cheek, then looked at Judge Caprio. The courtroom fell silent. Judge Caprio removed his glasses slowly. He set them on the bench with a kind of deliberate motion that made everyone hold their breath. Miss Rhodes, he said, calm but firm. I'm going to give you exactly one opportunity to apologize to Officer Collins before I add assault on a court officer to your existing charges. Amelia's chin lifted. I'm not apologizing for anything. He grabbed my arm. That is his job. His job is to serve my father's city, not to touch me. Miss Rhodes, this is your final warning. My dad is the mayor. Do you understand that? The mayor? One phone call. Miss Hart, please add assault on a court officer and contempt of court to the defendant's charges. The clerk nodded grimly and began writing. 10:13 a.m. Assault on court officer added, contempt of court added, defendant showing no remorse. Officer Collins confirmed, uninjured but visibly shaken. This is ridiculous, Amelia said. My father will end this hearing in 5 minutes. Your father isn't here, Miss Rhodes. He will be, and when he arrives, you'll understand exactly how much trouble you're in. Judge Caprio studied the young woman. 19 years old, no prior criminal convictions, but a pattern in her file painted a troubling picture. Complaints dismissed, incidents buried, a lifetime of problems that had mysteriously evaporated before they could result in consequences. Let me read you your original charges, Miss Rhodes, Judge Caprio said. Miss Hart, the clerk, adjusted her microphone. Case number 2026 Civilian 518. Original charges, reckless endangerment, failure to yield to a pedestrian in a marked crosswalk. Additional charges as of 10:13 a.m. Assault on a court officer, contempt of court. Those charges are fake, Amelia said, her voice sharp, defensive. The old man was walking too slow, and your bailiff shouldn't have touched me. Her confidence was performance. Judge Caprio had spent decades reading defendants. He could see the fear beneath the bravado. This was a young woman who had never faced a situation her father couldn't fix. Accountability was foreign, and it terrified her. Miss Rhodes, Judge Caprio said, calm, precise. Let me ask you something. When you struck Officer Collins, what did you think would happen? I thought he'd back off, she said. And when he didn't, I figured my dad would handle it like he always does. How exactly does your father handle situations like this? The judge pressed. Amelia's smile returned, the kind that suggested she was sharing a private joke only the powerful understood. My dad controls this courthouse. He controls the police. He controls everything in this city. One word from him and problems disappear. Judge Caprio held up a text screenshot submitted as evidence. Dated that morning at 9:47 a.m., sent from Amelia to a friend. On my way to court, some bailiff tried to tell me where to stand. I'm going to handle him when I get there. My dad owns these people. Amelia's smile flickered. That text was private. It was submitted by an anonymous source, Judge Caprio said evenly. The question is whether it accurately reflects your intentions this morning. I didn't mean I was going to hit him. I meant, I'm going to handle him. What did you mean, Miss Rhodes? For the first time since the hearing began, Amelia went quiet. I asked you a question, the judge said. I meant I would make sure he knew who I was, who my father was, she admitted. And you believe that would protect you from consequences. It always has before, she said, a whisper now, more vulnerable than defiant. The side door opened. A man walked in, mid-50s, shoulders slightly slumped, face lined with an expression Amelia had clearly never seen before. Public appearances, press conferences, speeches, all gone. Today, he looked broken. Mayor Daniel Rhodes, the clerk announced. Your Honor, the mayor said quietly. May I approach? You may, Judge Caprio replied. The mayor walked past his daughter without looking at her. Amelia's confident posture crumbled. Dad? Dad, what are you doing here? Did you come to stop this? She stammered that he did not respond. 10:27 a.m. Mayor Daniel Rhodes enters courtroom. Defendant appears stunned. Mayor requests permission to observe and address the court. Dad, tell them who I am. Tell them this is all a misunderstanding. Amelia pleaded, desperation creeping into her voice. The mayor finally turned to face his daughter. Amelia, he said, low, steady. I need you to be quiet and listen. Not argue. Not explain. Listen. But listen. His word cracked through the courtroom like a whip. Amelia fell silent. Judge Caprio observed carefully. The room held its collective breath. The mayor had spoken. The courtroom waited. I'll give you that opportunity after we hear testimony from the responding officer, Judge Caprio said. Officer Turner. Officer Malik Turner stepped to the witness stand. He had been the officer who responded to the crosswalk incident 2 weeks earlier. Officer Turner, can you describe what you observed when you arrived at the scene? Yes, Your Honor. I responded to a call about a near collision at the crosswalk on Westminster Street. When I arrived, I found Mr. Jenkins, the victim, on the sidewalk. He was in his wheelchair, visibly shaken. Several bystanders were trying to calm him down. What was his condition? He was trembling, Your Honor. He told me a vehicle had come so close to hitting him that he felt the wind from it brush his face. He said if his chair had been 6 inches further into the crosswalk, he would have been killed. Did you locate the defendant? Yes. Miss Rhodes had pulled her vehicle to the side of the road about half a block away. When I approached, she immediately told me that her father was the mayor and that I should think very carefully about my next move. Judge Caprio cued the body cam audio. Officer Turner, 3:42 p.m. I need to see your license and registration. Do you have any idea who my father is? My father is the mayor of this city. One phone call and your career is over. Think about that before you write anything down. The courtroom was silent. Judge Caprio let the audio finish before turning to the victim. Mr. Jenkins, would you like to address the court? The elderly veteran wheeled himself forward slowly, each movement deliberate, the careful precision of a man who had learned to navigate a world not built for him. Your Honor, I served 3 tours in Vietnam, he said. I was 22 when a helicopter crash took most of the function in my legs. I've spent 52 years learning how to live in this chair. He paused, his hands resting on the wheels. When that car came at me, I thought I was going to die. Not in a war zone, not while serving my country, but in a crosswalk in Providence, because some gal in a fancy car couldn't wait 5 seconds. Amelia looked away, and then Mr. Jenkins continued. When the officer arrived, I heard her screaming about her father, about phone calls, about ending careers. And I thought, this is what I fought for, so entitled children could not threaten people for simply doing their jobs. Amelia's facade began to crack, but she wasn't ready to surrender yet. Your Honor, I think this is all being blown out of proportion. My father will explain, she said, her voice shaking. Your father is here, Miss Rhodes, and I don't think he's going to explain what you're hoping he will, Judge Caprio said. Mayor Daniel Rhodes rose slowly. His posture had the weight of years of public appearances, but today his shoulders were curved, his face weary. Your Honor, I owe this court an apology and an explanation. Please proceed. For 19 years, he said, his voice steady but tinged with regret, I have protected my daughter from the consequences of her actions. When she was expelled from private school for bullying, I had her transferred. When she crashed her first car while texting, I paid off the other driver. When she screamed at a restaurant server until the young woman cried, I made the complaint disappear. The courtroom held its breath. Every word hung like a mirror for Amelia. Every act of protection, every barrier between her and consequence, now laid bare. Mayor Rhodes paused, his gaze dropping to the floor for a long moment. I told myself I was being a good father. I told myself I was protecting my family. But I was wrong. I was teaching her that she was above accountability. I was creating the person you see in front of you today. Judge Caprio held his pen still, letting the weight of that admission hang in the courtroom. Then he gestured to the clock. Miss Hart, please play the voicemail transcription from the mayor's office, dated 3 days ago. The clock adjusted the microphone. This message is from the office of Mayor Daniel Rhodes. The mayor wishes to make clear that he will not be intervening in case number 2026 Civilian 518. Any suggestion that the mayor's office has attempted to influence this proceeding is false. The mayor requests that his daughter be treated exactly as any other defendant would be treated. He further notes that he is deeply ashamed of her behavior and supports whatever ruling the court deems appropriate. Amelia's face went pale. Dad, you didn't, she whispered, voice trembling. I said I'd handle it, Mayor Rhodes replied quietly, and this is how I'm handling it, by abandoning you. By finally being the father I should have been from the beginning. The courtroom was silent. Even the air seemed to hold its breath. Judge Caprio finally spoke, calm and measured. Mayor Rhodes, let me make sure I understand. You're asking this court to treat your daughter without any special consideration. Yes, Your Honor. I am asking you to hold her accountable. Something I should have demanded years ago. Judge Caprio's gaze shifted to Amelia. The assault on Officer Collins, the contempt, those charges are appropriate. You struck a court officer in front of a judge, in front of witnesses, in front of cameras. There must be consequences. Amelia's shoulders shook. Tears streaked her face. Not the calculated tears of someone trying to manipulate the court, but the raw, genuine tears of someone whose entire worldview had just collapsed. Dad, please. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. You did mean to, Amelia. Her father interrupted, voice quiet but unwavering. That's the problem. You meant to hit him because you believed it wouldn't matter. You believed I would make it go away, like I've made everything else go away. The judge allowed the silence to stretch, letting the truth sink in. Your Honor, Mayor Rhodes continued. There's something else you should know, something I've never told Amelia. Please, Judge Caprio encouraged. My father, Amelia's grandfather, was a veteran. Korean War. He came home with injuries that affected him for the rest of his life. He spent his final years in a VA hospital, struggling for basic dignity. Amelia blinked, looking up at her father, shock and disbelief etching her features. Grandpa was a veteran. You never knew because I was ashamed, he admitted, his voice breaking slightly. Not of him, of what he endured, but of myself. My father taught me that service means sacrifice. That character means treating everyone with respect, regardless of their position. And I failed those lessons. I raised a daughter who screams at veterans in crosswalks because they're too slow. The courtroom was silent, heavy with the weight of history, mistakes, and a moment that would define the young woman's life. Amelia's confident posture crumbled completely, replaced with something new, recognition, guilt, and the first flicker of understanding that